State Senator Jonathan Dismang is Republican from Beebe. He is the co-chair of the Joint Budget Committee. He is the vice chair of the Senate Revenue and Tax Committee. He looks to be at the center of the debate in next week's special session over tax reform. He and I caught up for a conversation. Before we talk taxes, this special session has the ability to go off of the train tracks, as we have seen in the past, and as we have seen some members suggest that they're going to ask for some things off the governor's call. Are we going to open this session up for more?
I'm not sure at this point what the will of the body is going to be really on both sides. It's going to have to be a collective decision if we do that. I think there are a number of hurdles in doing that. For instance, I know one of the items that we're looking at is the abortion related topics. And if you're kind of following along with what's happened on the Supreme Court level, I'm not sure they're ready to make a decision, and whatever our reaction is going to be needs to be based on, what their findings are and what the ruling is. And so some of that stuff may not be ready at this point for actual legislation, but again, we'll see how quickly the members want to move and if they want to try to get ahead of some other items.
All right, walk me through in as layman's terms as you can the gist of what is agreed upon by the legislature and the governor, specifically for the income tax rates. My understanding is it comes down from 5.9 to 5.5 in this tax year.
That's right.
5.3 the next year, and then there's trigger mechanisms after that.
That's right. So, just in general, if we want to focus on the income tax, I think that this bill that we have that's been circulated amongst the members, we've got about 26 co-sponsors in the Senate alone, so we feel good about passage. But it really responsibly provides for three key things. First thing is it simplifies our tax code. We've got the most complicated tax code in the country. This is going to take our number of tables down from 3 to 2, and that's really going to benefit some folks that have been left out of previous tax cuts. The second thing it does, it creates fairness. Everybody in the state of Arkansas that pays income tax is going to receive a benefit from this income tax package. And I think the last thing it does, it helps us become competitive. As you can see, surrounding states are looking at changing their tax policies. We've got other states without income taxes. And I think when you collectively look at our tax structure, this gets us more in line and hopefully helps create an incentive for people to want to bring jobs here, to relocate here, and ultimately retire here. But circling back to what the bill it does itself, no, you hit the nail on the head. The biggest two pieces are the consolidation of the two tables, and then also that top rate reduction, which, just as a side note, is going to benefit anyone that's making above $35,000 in the state. It also allows a trailing of the corporate tax rates so that those can take effect. And these legacy, for instance, if you got a family farm that was set up as a corporation 50 years ago, they're also going to be able to save or share in some income tax cuts. It provides for a $60 credit for those making $24,000 roughly here in the state, and that'll phase out by $5 increments for every $100 worth of income. So there's a whole lot in this particular tax bill, in addition to some items related to our long-term reserve, which will become the catastrophic reserve fund.
So there has been some criticism from groups like the Arkansas Advocates for Children and Families. I know you've talked to them quite a bit in the construction of all of this, that say that this benefits too many people at the top. There should be more with $1 billion surplus helping people making below $35,000 a year and earned income tax credit, something they've advocated for. I guess give me your counter argument to their argument that this is not the right type of targeted tax relief.
Well, so first, what I spent some time trying to do was find that analysis. So I went to ITEP, which is who they pulled some information from, and all it does is simply refer back to a blog post by advocates. So I think there's some misunderstanding about the tax cut itself. Their analysis didn't take into account any changes that have occurred since October 8th. And so that would be the $60 tax credit, for example. And again, I think there's just based on what I've seen, and again, there's no official report by ITEP. We did the work for them. There's going to be roughly $135 million worth of savings for folks that are making less than $85,000 a year here. And then additionally, like I said, everyone that makes above $34,000 is going to share in the savings of that reduction of the top rate. And I don't think that was truly taken into account. And they've used some inflationary numbers and made some economic, forecasting adjustments that I think, maybe skew a little bit of the representation. I look forward to being able to explain that further when we present the bill.
Other changes that are going to be in here, you hit kind of the big three. There's some small stuff in there that, people may not completely understand, or
Sure.
it may pop up as an issue that people aren't
Right.
accounting for.
Yeah, and so one of the big things, I mean, it seems like a small change, but it's really, if you want to go back to the thing that I led with, this is a responsible tax cut. It changes the name of our long-term reserve fund to the catastrophic reserve fund, and the reason for that is so that any future legislature understands that this is something that's supposed to be held on to and used, for emergency purposes, true economic downturns. It also caps the amount that can go into our long-term reserve at 20% of our state spend. And so that's really to provide a backstop to ensure that we don't find ourselves in what most people call a Kansas-style situation, that we've, bit off more than we can chew. We'll have roughly $1.2 billion in that catastrophic reserve fund. If there is a downturn, which I think all of us anticipate there will be, at some point, we'll have the backstop to ensure that we don't lose some essential services here in the state.
I'm still waiting on that constitutional amendment proposal to eliminate taxes by 2030. That's still coming to your knowledge?
Well, I think what we're demonstrating is that may not be needed. We're taking care of that, again, responsibly through tax cuts, taking a look at the budget, utilizing outside sources to forecast what we're able to afford as far as tax cuts. And I mean, I think it'd be hard for anyone to argue that cutting $500 million total in income taxes here in the state of Arkansas isn't a significant step.
That's Senator Jonathan Dismang. You can catch more of our conversation at talkbusiness.net. When we come back, UCA political scientist Dr. Heather Yates. Stay with us.